Meanwhile, the matchup against LGD here, LGD on a loss would be in a rather terrible position, potentially looking at elimination. They have one final series against G2IG, who are currently also 2-4. So their final opponent is maybe an opponent they could actually take down to that elimination spot. But even just being in the bottom three is a dangerous proposition, right, Avery?
Especially if you don't even get in that play. That is a really rough way to go to this tournament, especially if your team, if you're not going to TI as well, then it's just like, what do you do for the next 3 months of the year?
Yeah.
So you got to keep your tournament here alive, but it's also more of, I mean, keeping your team alive.
Yeah, it's straight up like if you lose out here, you are probably disbanding your entire team because there's nothing left for the season, really.
It's just really do or die for LGD. Like this series, the next one, I mean, we could be looking at the last few series of this roster if it goes really bad. Not to overplay it, but they need to find some momentum here in this group stage. Now, upside is if they, let's say LGD 2-0s this series, Entity's sitting at the top 2 in the group, suddenly they're 4-4 tied with Entity, and they're looking completely fine.
Yeah, and they're looking at pretty good momentum in their final series against G2IG.
Right. So there's a lot to earn here for both these teams. You're trying to set yourself up for the final day, and a lot on the line, and they've decided to put it back in the hands of the Naga Siren, a hero that has historically been pretty strong for, you know, they were with the different LGD squads. It's a hero that Xiao8 is happy to go back to when he feels like it can control the pace of the game, set the team fights up well. A pick that enables that earlier Jakiro support, which is not a support we see too often, and a support that really needs to be enabled. Not often the way you want to do it, you know. I think it's more common to use supports to enable your cores, but hey, if you're confident in what this hero can do in terms of the damage output, it can work here. And the biggest thing when I look at these types of lineups, like these Naga, Jakiro, Naga Disruptor lineups, is do you have early BKB buyers? Because if you have heroes that can buy early BKBs and you put auras behind them, sometimes you just get tempoed out. And Entity is a team that is very willing to do that. So this is another game where, okay, if you get early Aegis on the TA, you get some early BKBs, maybe 2 between the 3 cores in your 3rd, 4th item slot. That 30 to 35 minute high ground push from Entity is probably the scary part of this game for LGD. Can you get through that period? Can you take that high ground defense fight if it comes to you? Or maybe you can just play aggressive with the Shadow Fiend, with the Dawnbreaker ult to back him up. There's another possibility there.
It definitely feels like LGD, between the combination of team fight that they have, I would say they have some pretty decent team fight. They have some good high ground defense. They've got Jakiro. And the global part of their strategy mixed with split pushing, right? Naga Siren pushing out the side lanes, Dawnbreaker pushing out the side lanes while still being able to join in on the fight. I feel like it's a pretty good setup for drawing out the game and making sure that, you know, you don't get run over by Entity like they've done to other teams in this play-in stage.
That's why it really is a double-edged sword versus some of these teams, such as Entity. The teams that want to push you down. Because sometimes Naga can be the thorn in their side. It's a hero that stalls the game, ruins your timing pushes, can contest Roshan, gets so much out of the map. On the flip side, it can sometimes be too slow.
That is enough.
And there's the Fishman First Blood. I feel like I've said that a lot, but you know, I'll put another on the board here. And nice little pick up for PWI. They put him in a much better position with all that extra gold here on a hero that can use it pretty well. My concern maybe for this LGD lineup is the damage output. I feel like it might be a little lackluster if the SF is the one getting gone on. Let's say the SF just gets stunned or TA trapped into Shackle. There's a charge coming through. Spirit Breaker ruins these PKB dependent cores. SF is definitely in that category. Even if he's not buying BKB, you get charged into another struck into a Shackle or this TA mailed hitting you. There's not a lot to bail you out outside of, you know, Dawnbreaker coming in, but
do you think that New's going to go for the Aghanim Scepter?
That's why it would
on
be
the
tempting.
Dawnbreaker? Yeah, just because so much focus should be on enabling the SF in this game, right?
But I feel like New tends to play like a carry off lane.
Yeah, he kind of does. Watson going to be in some trouble as they continue to get kills here in this top lane. Tries to snag away the Lotus, but Fishman still had a stun ready to go. So don't manage to claim that extra bit of bounty, but trading support for core still good for LGD.
Cores are finding a decent amount here for Envy, but supports from LGD making some headway. And if they can get this clock to a fast 6, it would really help their lineup because they have no initiation. It's the other downside here. Their team fight is kind of predicated around taking defensive stances, letting the waves push in, and then Entity taking something into them, which is fine. But Clock can be the aggressive hero for LGD here and really play around the Shadow Fiend if you're trying to snowball him. So if you're going to pick anybody to have a good game here, it might be PWI. PYW.
Yeah, I let it slide the first time.
I know.
And I was like, all right, the second time I got to correct him here. Echo getting a little bump here as they, both sides playing aggressively to try and control up the water runes. Entity get the refill on the bottle for no one and deny the other one away from the SF. So empty bottle for Echo. Not going to be happy with that situation. But it does mean the side lanes, I mean, they're going very well for LGD. Well, at least when it comes to kills. Maybe they're not getting so much CS because they're focusing so much on trying to pressure the cores on either side lane matchup, but they can continue to keep getting kills. It would allow them to at least have an experience lead.
I mean, no one's just owning mid. Like, that's the biggest difference here. He's up 8 CS, but this net worth, it's almost 700. Extra regen going into Echo on some of the mangoes. This can happen to the SF where you're just trying to figure out mana regen to stay on the lane, push the waves out, get some jungle. That net worth is really reflecting a big difference there. And like we're seeing, all 3 cores from Entity are getting what they want out of this laning phase, even if the Clock is finding a little bit extra. That's a decent sign here because you're going to have Focus Fire up soon. And any type of gank potential you have on this SF is huge with the Spirit Breaker coming in. Another trade, but this does not look too favorable.
Yeah, this setup was much worse because they did not burn through the refraction before getting all the damage in. But I guess with the Dawnbreaker, or excuse me, the Jakiro coming in to help out the Dawnbreaker, I guess they just kind of like jumped the gun a little bit on it, but ultimately do manage to get that kill. And it's not like Naga is really needing any help against a Doom matchup. That is mostly going to be a farming lane, so.
They're going to get some harass on him, but yeah, he won't go down. Still, this is free farm for DM here. And he's getting quite big. He is going the auras here, looking at the Greaves. I mean, the auras are going to be strong here. Because, again, I feel like LGD might lack some damage. They have some decent flat spell damage, but the SF's really the real scaling power here into the mid game. So if you get like a fast Greaves pipe up, that 5-on-5 looks really difficult.
They are just non-stop aggression here in this top lane. No detection.
What are we doing?
I mean, yeah, it's a little early, to be fair.
Those 2 sentries were down, but out of range.
Yeah, they used it on the first go.
It's never too early for detection, Austin.
I suppose that's true. Echo. Double gank by supports between just the 2 hits from the supports and a power shot. They are able to get the job done. Fishman couldn't actually bump him back in with another round of the cogs. Does hit no one to push him a little bit farther away as he committed the focus fire and try and kill PYW. Not quite good enough, but that is the one hero you cannot afford to see dying. Does not hit the power shot.
I mean, no one just opened up this mid completely. Just straight domination in that one-on-one. Creates an easy gank rotation, and that's exactly what Entity wanted in this laning phase. Shut the SF down. He's the one snowball hero for LGD. He's the hero you kind of have to play around in these mid-game fights. The worse this game is, the worse everything's going to be, as PYW will secure a rune and a kill and be very happy about that. So, I mean, again, I'm still looking at him as the one thing going pretty well in this early game for LGD. Clock's having a heck of a game here.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you can do with that, but I guess we're going to find out. I mean, you can hookshot in and then, you know, connect the Dawnbreaker, connect Jakiro spells. It's something.
Any TP rotations to help out?
I think he's alive, though.
Maybe you could just walk it off.
Not in range for another purge.
Oh, no one. Headshot. Well played. Making that rotation across the map to be able to hit a power shot long range to finish off the enemy carry.
That is super value here for no one on mid. I mean, now he's just topping the game and he is cruising. And again, this Wind Ranger SF matchup isn't that fun. And
this lane is collapsing now. He doesn't even get the deny on the amp damage. He will manage to get off the Requiem. Maybe he can live through this. As he is veered back, everybody on the side of Entity. He'll live there. You has to TP back as well. So pressure on the lanes all over the place. Entity are just running over LGD, even in this one specific situation where they don't get a kill anywhere. They force the SF back. They force the Dawnbreaker back. Get the power rune.
LGD having difficulty standing on the lanes right now. Their cores are too susceptible to the Spirit Breaker roam, and there's a lot of early spell damage coming out from this Wind Ranger on all these gank connections. So your supports really have to be in the right place at the right time. You need to read these moves, and if you're giving up power runes, okay, you can read this move top, but is there anything you can do about it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
This move is deadly right now. Entity know it. No one is going to look for the dive. And this is the downside, I think, of sometimes supports like Jakiro. If the lane doesn't really go your way, they can feel a little flat in these early skirmishes. Your spells just aren't that good in a way. They're not that good at enabling your cores. That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
Like SF, okay, you can go in and dual breath some guy and deal some damage, but that's not helping SF survive against power shot charge through. Whereas even something like extra stuns or heals or something might.
I mean, in this situation, also just having Ice Path, even if it's not the best stun. But he's gone for a 2-0-2 build, trying to take advantage of the Liquid Frost facet that he chose.
It is a lot of damage. And we saw it top. You can melt some people for sure. And their lineup does need some of that extra oomph. Jakiro can fill that role. The connection's just the hard part.
It'll certainly look a lot better when they get level 6 on both supports, right?
For sure.
Add in a Dawnbreaker ult, but if you get a hook shot and macro pyre with the damage helped out by the Liquid Frost, you can melt pretty much anybody on the side of Entity of just 2 supports, but pre-level 6, their power level is a bit lacking. Seems like we might have solved our technical issues. DM gives a thumbs up. Raps ready to go. I think the scary part is no one is certainly feeling himself in this game, and we heard from Steenie earlier in the day that for Entity, he is one of the primary shot callers, one of the most veteran players as well. And so if he's having a good game, I mean, anytime your shot caller is having a good game, right?
Oh yeah, you're happy.
Things just kind of work out a lot better. I mean, everything starts meshing.
He's the engine for this team. I feel a lot of their gameplay revolves around what hero no one's on and how fast he's accelerating in terms of that damage ramp. Right, if it's the Storm, it's the Lesh, the Invoker he's known for, whatever those heroes are in the meta, this guy's a straight killer. If you can get him snowballing like that, your whole team is going to feel great around it. He's going to tell you where to go, he's going to tell you who he wants to kill, and it's just going to line him up.
Caught him inside the cogs with the Dawnbreaker ultimate to ensure the kill. DM will finally die. They had a crack at him probably like 5 minutes ago. Weren't able to finish him off, and as a result, he has been totally free farming this bottom lane. But they finally do get a kill on him. Doesn't really solve the distance, though, that DM has managed to rack up between him and the opposing offlaner. Has 1,100 net worth advantage over the Dawnbreaker.
Surprised that kill was that smooth for him. I mean, that's pre-hook shot. Doom doesn't really die unless he gets caught like that. So nice play around the tree lines. UIW getting the job done here yet again in the early game. Saving grace here for LGD. Comes straight back into the farm. And still playing with that Purge on the Doom. So you get the Greaves up and you have the Purge. It's double Dispel here. Pretty nasty versus, again, a lineup that's pretty limited on stuns. You're looking at Net Dispel, Jakiro Spell, Dispels. And that's a lot of your disable out the window. That's half of it right there. Another gank coming towards bottom for LG. Do not want to let them pressure the Naga. They're here at the right time, but maybe too late to save.
Yeah, he might be doomed to die to this damage over time, but they will manage to get some kills for it. First of all, DM's going to die. Now they're going to see if they run down any supports. Power shot.
Round 2.
Shiro. He's like, yeah, you got me that the first time, no one. But this time around, he was well aware that could be a potential finishing blow.
Had the ward in the jungle.
Yeah.
I think no one, he's sensing there's some vision there for that type of juke, but it ends up saving the carry. LGD making the correct smoke play here, get everything they want out of that. Doom on cooldown now is going to free up space for the Naga. Wind Ranger rotation does not work. Fishman's ward's going to get dewarded off this obs as well instantly here. LGD getting a lot off that sequence. And now they have the ults up for the supports. You're almost looking at level 7 for both of them, in fact. So 15 seconds here, you have Hookshot with a macro pyre up. got through this phase. I mean, this could have been a deadly phase for LGD. They could have been 5 or 6K behind right now. Instead, they're only down 1 or 2. And they got to their fighting spells, so now it's just a question of what you can do with them. Combine these supports on the map, look for some ganks, some initiations, especially with that Solar Guardian up for new. He does have that fast to lower the cooldown, and yeah, decent find should be a guaranteed kill here.
And maybe not. Battery Assault might still tick him out. It's going to be close, but he does manage to get it on just one of the final ticks there.
And no one trying to power shot Fishman.
Oh, okay, well, little double hard cam stack. That's where we're going to use our macro pyre on.
I don't know if that was a necessary macro pyre, but sure. You know, 300 mana for...
Yeah, but you have to think about the gold you're taking away from Entity as well, you know?
I was just thinking, why does this spell cost 300 mana?
Yeah, it's pretty depressing.
Somebody explain this to me. I mean, first, I think this ult is one of the worst. I mean, I'm going to say it's one of the worst ults in the games. I know a lot of people are going to disagree because, oh, look at the damage it does for, you know, the cooldown or whatever. Yeah. But in competitive games, the spell is pretty garbage.
Yeah, I mean, they've had to give it an Aghanim Scepter to try and keep people inside of it for longer because it just has never, almost very rarely has it ever been good enough.
A little Arcane Rune TP gank here. Pretty value for no one.
Hook shot lands on the creep, misses both No One and Kataomi, but the smoke is still coming in. So maybe he can bait them to turning around and fighting into this one. Maybe they're just going to fight Shiro. Throws out the blood grenade. Fishman really wants to fight this one. DM and Kataomi are not so sure about it, though. The charge coming through. The Requiem is going to land and hit all of these heroes, veering them back once again, allowing Shiro to be able to retreat and for them to pick up both supports. Sure enough, Entity and DM in particular maybe should have trusted their instincts and not fighting that.
Yeah, I should have just backed off there because they had Watson taking mid-tower during all of that. He got a lot. He's level 12 now, has the Blink Dragonlance stuff, gets a free tier 1. If Entity just back off there, that's a very good exchange for them. Instead of overextending, they're going to feed two support kills away, which is more XP going towards LGD, which is exactly what they want right now, especially if they're going to bring Naga to that type of fight. See how aggressive Watson can get here in the next 10 minutes, though.
Nice blink over to the side, dodging the ice path. Really going to go for this one. Oh, he's got the Dawnbreaker within striking distance, and they will get the kill on Watson. And no one who used the focus fire is not going to be able to get the return kill either.
That's a big turnaround. I feel like I've said this 1,000 times this game, but once more, is PYW salvaging these exchanges, right? Yep. What an insane early game clock performance. 5-1-6 here. Got the first blood, ganked bottom, counter ganked this TA. Has found that Doom kill bottom as well. Yeah. Intercepted the fight that went on the Naga, saved him from the Doom. I mean, he has been everywhere this game. That is not an easy game for the clock to play here because he doesn't have a lot of easy setup if it's not him. And hey, Solar Crest already done. Very nice item this game for the SF especially. But even the Dawnbreaker throwing it in the middle of it. And this hero just with the levels, level 9, he's already 1,600 HP. And he has been a force this game. We've yet to see Entity really play around the strength of Watson so far, though, right? They've kind of been this I don't want to say 4 protect the 1, but 4-in-1 formation. And I think their lineup really comes together when the TA joins those fights or the objective pushing, particularly that Roshan. Because then as LGD, you have to fight through the traps. The TA is going to give you a lot of extra damage on the Sven and the Breaker charging through and giving you the stuns. So that's a big component here that LGD haven't had to deal with yet. And of course, that TA is silently climbing the net worth chart. He is at the top. He's still very high level.
What do you make of him buying out his shard rather than going for the faster Deso to enable that Roshan timing?
I think it's okay. I mean, Roche is still on the table here. They have Focus Fire. It's still doable without it if they get a good fight. And he's looking for the fight. That is...
PYW just keeps on landing the hook shots, man. And no one stuck inside the clocks will not be able to make it out. Nice path on 2 with the Requiem on top of this. Combination is all on point for LGD, but will it be enough? With Watson laying out the damage from the back lines, it seems like it's not good enough for LGD. They get a lot of Entity's heroes low, but they can't quite finish off many of them. Final swing from New does manage to get that one on Fishman, and now Watson's being chased down by Shiro. Shiro, another refraction, turns around, throws out a meld shot to try and finish up New. Not quite good enough. A song to make sure he's not going anywhere to corral the kill, and in the end, it does work out very well for LGD.
Just beautiful support play. I mean, the supports from LGD are just doing everything in these early fights. That hook shot wins you that exchange straight up at the start, and then just a beautiful ice path lines him up for that Requiem to do the rest of the work here. Over 2,000 damage from Jakiro. I think that was more than Watson dealt on this TA.
Yeah, probably.
Well, really getting the most out of this support duo, for sure. Even the macro did a lot of work here. And Entity overextending. Felt like they were strong after this SF goes down, but that hammer went through everybody, and you've already used your mech, you've used all your sustain. Not a lot left in the tank here. No traps down in the river either to kind of kite around.
Also, none of that would have been possible if Shiro wasn't in that part of the map, right? If he was doing some split pushing games and just, you know, pushing down one of the side lanes or something. The fact that he comes in to back that team fight up and help them get those 2 turnaround kills.
Yeah, he's been very active this game.
Yeah.
And LGD have needed it. And it's been pretty good for him too. I mean, anytime you can join fights as Naga, it's extra XP. He's level 13. This is pretty high for a Naga at this point in the game.
Yeah.
So he's ready to fight. Manta already done going to Orchid. He's going to be a team fight presence, and he does have good matchups here. I mean, this is why they went for the last pick Naga. Sure, he can play the map and do all that stuff, but he has good core matchups. You're looking at 3 single target cores that do not deal with him at all if he can join the fight after it has started. You know, 5-10 seconds into the fight, that Naga comes in. Maybe the Doom's already out on the SF. Maybe the Focus Fire is already used. What do you have left to deal with him in the illusions? There's nothing. Terrible matchup for TA. So right now, Shiro, he is a beast. LGD know it.
He's going to get even more beastly if he can complete that Orchid here pretty soon. He'll show his face in the mid lane and see if he can use his strength to take that mid tower. Entity going to make the rotation to defend.
We are looking at a pipe done on the Doom. Gleipnir done for the Wind Ranger. So Entity, big items just delivered. A lot more team fight presence in the 5-on-5.
Gleipnir holds him in place long enough. Dawnbreaker ultimate coming in. They're going to try and burst down the Doom, not letting him get off his ultimate, but they lose the SF. So they keep their sights on, in a funny way, going for the Doom to prevent the Doom that would have gone onto the SF, but they lose the SF anyway. And unfortunately, the tower does get in within deny range, so Entity will take that last hit away from LGD.
Yeah, it was a little aggressive from DM. Maybe his idea is I'm going to zone him out, we'll kill the SF, and even if I go down, it's good exchange for us. Yeah, it's okay, but I don't think LGD are too sad about that overall. Their Naga's continuing to get a lot here. And they do have this secondary carry in the Dawnbreaker, because you are just going Deso on Dawn here for New. So, like I said, he enjoys his carry off lane. He's going to try and show it off here and scale.
Yeah, and frankly, if you wanted to go, if you thought the Ags build was the build to go this game, you would have gone the other facet, right? But this one, the solar charged, you want to be AFK farm, you want to be hitting creep, so it reduces the cooldown of your Solar Guardian, so it's up as much as humanly possible. Reach into a new daytime, so LGD will get a full view of Entity's movements and see that there are 4 heroes taking the bottom tier 1 tower.
You got to be thinking about Rosh here. Greaves just done on the Doom. Your auras are up. You have the single target focus for the Roshan. They're going to take the fight top instead. This is a risky fight for Entity if it goes wrong.
Especially with the blade mail on him, and now the song saved to turn it around. Are they going to set up a Requiem? They're just going to set up a double raise onto Kanta Aomi to get that 1 kill. Is LGD going to keep this pressure up with a 4 versus 5? Looks like it. And they're going to take this tower. So Entity get greedy, trying to take the enemy safe lane tower and then hold their own. It does not work out for them, though.
Ooh, another hook shot.
There we go. PYW just setting up kill after kill, pickoff after pickoff for LGD. And he's so farmed that they can't even turn around and kill him. He's got 1,800 HP with a Solar Crest and soon to be Yules, and he's going to get an Aghanim Scepter after that. I mean, this man certainly put in an MVP performance for this game one.
He put that early game on his back.
Yeah.
No way around it. Katomi's finding his own farm, but he's just being eclipsed here by this clock. The KDA adding up. And Entity starting to fall behind in these team fights. Have not forced the Roshan yet. Haven't really been able to use this Greaves Pipe Doom to win a 5-on-5. That's worrying for them right now, as it doesn't feel as though the damage is scaling at an insane pace relative to what LGD are presenting in terms of the 3-on-3 cores, especially with New going for this Deso Dawnbreaker. So you really got to get something done with this Greaves Pipe Doom in terms of objectives on the map, or Roshan, or a 5v5 team win, or it feels like you're just going to fall behind. I guess you do have this sellback mechanism, right?
Yeah.
That's what Fear's talking about. I mean, I guess you can just go back for Midas here and then sell your Greaves, sell your Pipe, buy Brown Boots, BKB, Blink, haha, I'm a carry now. I mean, there's something there, I guess.
That sounds really dumb. I think there are cool things to do with this Devil's Bargains. I just think that it's not really useful facet for the Aura build.
Well, maybe we'll find out this game. But so far, it's LGD taking control of the map and starting to put some pressure on the lanes, force Entity to their side, looking for the pickoffs, and it'll be them going into the Roshan pit first. This is a massive swing strategically in this game. This is not an objective I ever really saw Entity giving up in this type of game. Massive blow to them.
No contest.
I mean, Shiro's just a monster now. They're having trouble dealing with the Naga once. I mean, twice.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they should
Good
not
luck.
have given him the Aegis, and it should have gone to the SF instead.
I don't even think LGD care about the SF this game, honestly.
Yeah.
He's just bait. Go in, get an ult off, whatever, man. If you die, we don't care. We're going to win the fight off the Clockwork and the Naga right now. And of course, Dawn's going to go in on one of these targets. He's either going to go in on the SF to bail him out or the Clockwork initiation, and then you're going to have to deal with the damage coming out from this Deso Blade Mail Dawnbreaker. Yeah, I don't think SF needs to be alive for LGD to win these fights anymore. I think he just needs to be a big enough damage sink and get some of his damage out, and LGD are going to be happy with that. So I'm okay with this Aegis.
Well,
Shield
with,
Rune helps too.
Yeah, Shield Rune and a BKB, it seems very likely the SF will be able to get something off in these engagements.
Still, I think if you're LGD, you don't want to take your foot off the gas here. I think you would like to play aggressive, continue to find the fights, and if Entity don't want to take the 5-on-5s with the auras up, then you want to punish them for that by taking towers with this Naga, cutting super deep waves, restricting the vision. Make the most of this Aegis period right now. Because Entity were struggling to find footing in this game, at least after the early game. Do not want to give them some respite here. Yeah, I like this play by Shiro. Just start taking some tier 2s, man. Naga is one of these heroes you can do this. You're not going to give up any gold on the map. And you can maybe look for setups somewhere else. Take the Clockwork, smoke them up with 1 or 2 heroes. You have Solar Guardian to throw in on any of those smoke ganks that connect, so you don't need to commit in a large number here for LGD. Would really like to see some small 2 or 3-man smokes across the maps here and let Shiro just clean up the other side on the waves. Or just find the hook shot. Yeah, that works too.
Just keeps on finding it, man. Can't even throw out a power shot. Revealing yourself to PYW means death.
That was instant. He saw him for a second behind that tree.
Yeah.
No wards there. There's nothing.
PYW's locked in.
This man came to fight. Yeah, I bet he had a Zhao 8 told him to wash his face before this game.
He did a deep cleanse. Did a pore cleanse, you know?
Motivational speech was given. LGD coming in full force. There's Siege in the base here. 25 minutes with a Naga lineup, and the Naga's hitting your tier 3. Something went wrong for you here. Something went very right for LGD, and it's a Midas out for the Doom, but I mean, it's just increasing his net worth to
Hook
feed
shot
the
into
fire.
Requiem.
Yeah, you're
Nice
gone.
little combo that will guarantee any kill that doesn't have a BKB. So that's going to be a tier 3 with no Doom, and we'll see if LGD want to keep that momentum going all the way into the barracks. Entity.
This Naga really messed him up.
Yeah, it did.
It did not feel like Entity knew how to deal with him in the fights at all.
Okay, Gleipnir underneath tier 4s. Entity, is it possible for them to be able to play this one out? Even with a buyback, they can't actually catch any of the LGD heroes, so they kind of just reset, play around Shiro, who still has the Aegis, but also has a heart, so incredibly hard to put the damage on this guy. I feel like they could have kept going, but it's fair enough. They want to back up with the Doom coming back alive. They don't want to, you know, risk their... what feels like a rather large lead. It doesn't actually translate that way that much in the network chart. They're up by 8K, but it feels like so much more. It just feels a lot more hopeless for Entity when it comes to, you know, them actually winning a fight.
I think it comes down to where is the damage going to come from right now. You have a Focus Fire, you have a Doom, and you have some TA right clicks, and that's about it. And it's all single target. So who are you? I mean, it just looks so hard to fight the Aegis here, but it looks tough to take the extended fight no matter what, unless you can find isolated targets.
Which they do. New
yeah,
gets
that
himself
helps.
Caught in the enemy jungle. PYW, though. He doesn't have the Dawnbreaker ultimate to back him up, so he's not nearly as enthusiastic about hitting a hook shot here. DM trying to find this opening. Okay, hook shot into Orchid, but they quickly cleanse that with the Greaves, and it's Echo who's going to be the one taking the brunt of Watson's damage. Even though they have this very strong carry, they're going to have to use the song to get out of here. See if he can escort his supports out. Entity are very likely to catch at least one of them. It's going to be YU Smile stunned up. That was a very, very poor set of little skirmishes there for LGD.
Yeah, they just got caught off guard. No way around it. I mean, nice flank on the map from Entity. Found an isolated target. They found the exact one they wanted, which is the Dawnbreaker. So that Solar Guardian is not doing anything for you there if he's the one getting ganked. And just one by one. I mean, that is how they can win these fights. Find isolated core targets, bring them down, single file, and yeah, that's where you line up their eyes. Not a situation I think LGD should have found themselves in there, considering they had the Aegis on the Naga. He can frontline, he can push the waves in. You should be able to read the fact that either they're stuck on their base or they're making a move. And if they're making a move, then you should be huddling with the right heroes to not give them that kind of opening. But NA sees it. Will get something going for themselves in this game. Got to be looking towards that next Roche here in the next 5 minutes. Set yourself up well for it in terms of the map and your next set of items. If you can get to the Butterfly on the Naga here, he is going to be, I mean, it feels invincible. You have nothing to cut through it here, really. Unless you can doom him at the start and then just run him down on the Wind Ranger, but that sounds very hopeful.
Well, we'll see if Entity can put the pieces together for contesting second Roshan. One nice thing, if you're going to go a damage build like this on the Dawnbreaker, usually means you're going to be, you know, farming solo a lot of times because you have this global ultimate, so you're incentivized to be away from your team. Entity, they already took advantage of that once. LGD, make sure it doesn't happen a second time, though. You back them up in this bottom lane, start going for the tier 2, take control of the Tormentor area as well.
Daedalus for Watson would be huge here. I mean, we see the MO of Entity. If you can get the single target burst in and go to the next guy, the faster that can happen, then higher chance your team fight successful here. Daedalus definitely increases those odds. LG are just going to group here. They saw nothing off that daytime proc from the Dawnbreaker innate, so they're just going to group up bottom and smoke. They knew Entity were smoking somewhere. Don't want to take the risk of getting picked off. Probably a smart decision here. Again, you're trying to posture for this next Roshan, so you don't want to feed heroes, lose your lane control, and then have to go towards that instead of that objective here in the next several minutes. And they finish up an Ags on the clock and the SF here, so a lot more spell power for the next team fight. If you land some good hookshot into Requiem, it might just be the team fight over.
Yeah. I also feel like the vision that is given by the Aghanim Scepter from Clockwork is a huge factor as well, because I feel like if you can just straight up see Entity, I don't really know how Entity, you know, wins the fight. right? They win the fight through some sort of initiation, pick-off, and that sort of thing, but if you just see where they're coming from,
it's pretty difficult.
It's going to be real hard.
And you're still looking for this butterfly on the Naga, which is 1,000 off. You have Elven Tunic to back it up here, too. That's why it's a big deal. You're going to be at 50% evasion versus a lineup that's entirely dependent on either the focus fire or the TA hitting you to bring you down. That's why Shiro is such a problem right now. Entity did not hit their timings at all in this game, and it's let this Naga get to a point where he's potentially invincible in the next minute or two if you don't make something happen here. So this is a good time to smoke for Entity. They have their BKBs.
I mean, they are so advantaged on LGD for this fight, but if Entity does win this, it will push Watson into his MKB. You know, like, this is a situation where LGD could be completely untouchable as long as this fight goes well, but if it doesn't, they're going to find the opening here. Go for why you smile, kill the Jakiro, and blow up Mew at the same time. They got fast. 2 kills very fast. Shiro gets nothing really done here. Oh, wait. They hit the Requiem Mules combination onto no one, trying to blow him up with the Aghanim Scepter. It should be enough damage as Roshan's going to be one to claim the last hit. DM stuck inside the cogs. Is going to try and jet back out of there from the Clockwork. Kataomi comes back in with a huge charge, landing onto the SF, stalling him up, stalling up PYW, and they've got this fight in the bag. Shiro, he's going to have to use a Song TP out, and they will win the fight, and they will claim the second Roshan. Entity turned this thing around.
Swarming tactics around the TA traps, giving the vision, and just BKB man up there from no one. Takes the Dawnbreaker out of the fight, creates chaos for LGD. 2 quick kills, opens up the flank. Can't use the Naga to frontline there, and the Butterfly, we see it get delivered. It's a minute too late here. Yeah. Huge swing here for Entity as they get an Aegis on the buyback here on the Wind Ranger. He even survived this Requiem. He got killed by Roche, so LGD don't even get the XP or gold for that one. And we're just seeing the power of the BKBs here. No way around it. You have 4 BKBs on the side of Entity. They're very good in this game. It eliminates a lot of the impact from the Jakiro Clockwork that we saw earlier. Your spell damage from the Dawn and the SF, it gets reduced. There's not a lot of disable that controls you here during these BKBs. I mean, it's a hook shot. That's it. I mean, you can't hook shot 4 BKBs, so... Well, I say that. I mean, he might in this game. But that'll finish the MKB for Watson, so you did not get that value out of the Butterfly you were looking for.
Not at all.
He's getting strong, man. He was cleaning up in that fight. The single target burst is just insane here for Entity. LGD need to survive. They need to be able to keep their heroes alive longer and stall out these BKB durations. 4 stabs, Glimmer Capes.
Yeah, how could they have done that in that last fight?
There was just nothing to bail out New. Like the second the Wind Ranger BKB focus fires him, he needs a 4-stab there. He needs some sort of cog separation, anything.
Yeah, like a hook shot just to hit the Wind Ranger or something.
Something had to come through because you can't let Entity just run you down during the 7 or 8 seconds they have the debuff immunity. An awkward place to fight.
Yeah, a little bit awkward. DM though. He's going to get the Doom onto the Dawnbreaker. I thought maybe he was going to go for Shiro on that play.
You can't heal him here. He's just gone.
Yeah. And the charge, they have so much chase. Once they break the initial part of the fight, they have to use the Requiem to try and keep these heroes off, but the BKBs went out from Watson and no one. They are able to focus down Shiro. The game absolutely collapsing now for LGD, who are in such a good position just 5 minutes ago.
Not respecting the rundown potential here and not providing solutions for the BKB control. One by one, Entity are finding their marks, using the Spear Breaker to its max potential.
Yeah. PYW spotted him on the creep wave, I guess. Oh, nice hook shot, though.
He's good? Nope.
No,
okay.
Gleipnir still got him. It was a good effort, though, PYW. Good effort. Unfortunately, we might be saying that at the end of this game. It was a good effort, PYW, but maybe not enough. It's now up 6K for Entity with still 2 minutes left to go on the Aegis. They've hit this huge timing where you've committed so much on the Butterfly for the Naga, and you already have the answer for it on one of your heroes. And no one, he'll start getting an answer himself as well. He's going to start building into an MKB.
Feels like LGD are very dependent on getting the initiation now. The way they've itemized on the SF and the Dawnbreaker, it's very aggressive, very Blink BKB oriented. So they want the hookshot to come through. You Blink BKB Requiem, something of this nature, you start the fight on your terms, you're going to be happier. But if Entity can continue to start every single skirmish where it's the breaker going in, someone's getting focus fired, they just commit the BKBs. You can't song them. You can't Blink in Requiem. It does nothing. You're just sitting there. You're just waiting. The lack of initiation is really hurting LGD right now. And it's just all in this clockwork. And yeah, they're falling behind in the levels as this TA almost level 25. That talent, not as good as it used to be, but it's close. And I mean, that is also just power of the Spear Breaker here. It just gives you extra experience.
That's true.
It's an easy innate to forget, but
yeah,
that's why I'm big on this hero. I think every game we see Spear Breaker, he doesn't seem like enough of a liability in the laning phase that his mid game, his late game scaling, his BKB piercing, and just the extra XP doesn't make up for it. And when you get into games like this, I mean, the hero just looks insane.
Yeah, every single one of their heroes is level 20 plus. And part of that is that innate herd mentality.
I mean, Fishman's level 20. Fishman's higher level than the enemy carry.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. 37 minutes. It's insane. What's this level? I mean, that's a good level 20 talent too. Sven talent. Like, that's the one you want on the support Sven here.
Your supports are buffing up the damage against the Naga Siren by so much. You get this barrier, you're getting the extra armor.
They found the initiation.
They get two heroes inside of the cogs, but they can't really seem to quite commit. They use the Requiem, it really doesn't hit anything here.
That's an air ball. And now Entity, they're going to look to go back in. You find another charge, you find another opening. No one's kind of poking it, trying to bait them out a bit.
Yeah, he's got Manta, he's got BKB. He's willing to let them go on him. It gives Entity a chance to be able to catch up on the rest of their heroes, and LGD will wisely back up to their high ground, not committing too much.
I mean, the armor that's coming through from Fishman, the fact he got such high levels so fast, you're looking at 25 bonus armor across the board on Warcry with almost no downtime. He has a Lotus Orb as well.
Yeah, he just had 58 armor in total.
Yeah, I mean, this has just negated a lot of Shiro's impact, which puts more pressure on the Requiem to land. And so far, Echo has been struggling to find an opening.
And so is why you smile when it comes to those ice pass.
Sessa barely survives.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
What's the game plan here if you're LGD? I mean, you need one insane hook shot here. You have to hook shot into Requiem.
Echo that's out the window. Charged. Doesn't get a Requiem off at all. You see, he has to hit just this magical Requiem. Well, if you can't even cast the spell,
that's just the game, I think.
Then, yeah, you might as well just pack it up, go home.
What a weird game, honestly. It felt as though LGD were in firm control of this, but a couple of good flanks by Entity. They got the Midas on the Doom, and then they just started scaling a lot harder. They got all this bonus XP, and then just an overwhelming ball. We've seen this from them over the course of this play-in. And now they're just rolling through some heroes here.
Yeah, no effort whatsoever really needed to kill Shiro. The one time he's going to buy back, but man, they've already gotten kills and reset their formation behind Watson.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
Mew just doesn't look tanky at all.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, he has 40 armor, but it does not look like it. Second lane, completely gone here.
Yeah, all this is with Watson having a Chrysalis in his backpack, by the way. So the damage he's outputting, his net worth is actually not quite the same as his actual damage output. You could buy out a Daedalus pretty soon here, replace his boots.
I mean, it's going to be hook shot into SF ult, buyback on the Dawnbreaker.
Well, there's the hook shot. Where's the SF ult?
It's not good. Up.
He went for the backline Requiem into blink in, pull back in with the Aghanim Scepter, and frankly, that's just never going to be enough. They're too far behind to try and do that combo.
You can get a nice Ice Path here.
Yeah, 3-man Ice Path. Love a Requiem off of that one, maybe. Okay, they do dice up the supports. The TA goes down pretty quickly.
Carry trade.
Didn't actually look the worst.
Yeah, they're going to clean this up. Actually works out in the end.
All right.
That was extremely awkward looking. Because Requiem once again did basically nothing. But I guess it popped all the BKBs early enough in the fight that you're able to song and then get the Ice Path on the backside. Man, I'm surprised Watson went down that fast, but I guess if you get the Naga on top of him, you just trade him out. I mean, it's a nice high ground defense here from LGD. It's looking like it was just game over. Find something here. Does cost him a Dawnbreaker buy. Does cost you that Naga death. But hey, you're still in it.
Nocturne for the Doom.
He did sell that pipe, by the way.
Okay. That.
And they rebuy the pipe on this vent. So max value item toggling here.
Yeah, I was literally thinking to myself, like, surely the pipe is still a value item this late into the game. Like, yeah, maybe they're not doing that much magic damage, but it is crippling a lot of the SF's output.
I mean, it makes sense here. You don't really want to use that as a slot on your Doom if you can use it for a slot on your Sven.
Yeah.
Way more efficient. Oh, got that courier. See you later.
Sure did.
That's the AC for you. Big item loss.
Yeah, frankly, just for the survivability.
Okay, refresher SF here. All in on Echo.
Now that maybe.
I mean,
if he's going to do like the backline ult and then blink in, okay, he gets the fear off of the blink in and then he refreshes and does that again.
I don't even think he got the feared. I don't know. He feared like 1 or 2 heroes.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, maybe
you still haven't been hitting through the BKB. I guess if you have 2, you can hit the first on the BKBs and then save the second one.
It just looks so less effective than the Kaya Sanj build. You know, him going for the Aghanim Scepter and trying to hit this, you know, second part of the Requiem rather than just doing a blink ult with Kaya Sanj.
We're about to find out.
Or Kaya Yasha.
UIW, this fight is a lot on you, my friend.
He is going to get inside the Roshan pit a little bit too early to be able to steal an Aegis just yet. No one, though, does. No, PYW stacks it away. No one does not get the Aegis outside of the quick fingers of PYW, and now Watson's going to get demolished by this Naga Siren unless he get away. Beautiful shackle shot, latching down the real Naga Siren and putting the threat on it. Kataomi hits him with a charge. It looks like Shiro might just die. He is. They couldn't get any help whatsoever. No one just does the damage without Watson really needed. Watson spending half of his fight controlled up, and he yules the rest of Entity.
Just over.
Win the game for Entity, man. Watson's gonna get demolished by this Naga Siren unless he get away. Beautiful shackle shot, latching down the real Naga Siren and putting the threat on it. Kataomi hits him with a charge. It looks like Shiro might just die. He is. They couldn't get any help whatsoever. No one just does the damage without Watson really needed. Watson spending half of his fight controlled up, and he yules the rest of Entity.
Just over.
Win the game for Entity, man. They just cleaned it up.
I mean, again, so much of that is the SF goes in. He Requiems 2 BKB heroes, does nothing, gets focus fire down, can't even get the second one off. There's just nothing to really protect him in the fight, stop Entity from focus firing this SF down, and that was the name of the game for a lot of these fights for LGD. I think. Which is it? What do you think?
I think it's desperation.
Okay, well, that's the pessimistic outlook.
Yeah. I'm rather pessimistic about LGD's chances.
That's fair. Could also just be confusion. Could be next level.
Okay.
It is Zhao 8.
How is it next level? Get into the mind of Zhao 8.
I mean, Zhao 8 does like to outdraft people from a standpoint of he likes to see what they're committing to and answer them and present a situation where his team can always win the game by outplaying the enemy on these little strategical levels. I think there is some opportunity to do that here, right? Like you have this Lion, not a hero we've seen a lot, but in theory can answer Storm pretty well. You have this last pick Timbersaw, which is, I think, Mew's best hero, honestly. When he is rolling with it, it is a force of nature for LGD. And it is something that can answer the front line here from the Underlord, even with the auras, even with a Pipe, Greaves, Atrophy, Aura Underlord. Timber doesn't care about it. So you can see pieces of this LGD draft where it works, right? You have Snap and Marcy to threaten the egg, multiple stuns between a rebound, Cookie, off of the instant Lion Hex where you can chain stun this Storm or lock down a Wind Ranger. I see how it comes together here in the Mind Palace of Zhao 8. He's crafted a masterpiece, perhaps. Downside of some of these drafts is like the onus of execution is really high, and it's on you. It feels like so much of this game is going to come down to how well LGD can play, not just this laning phase, but the team fights. How well can they make all of those aspects work for them? And it feels a lot more difficult than what Entity have, which, you know, they're going to go in, they're going to jump somebody with Storm, land a Shackle Shot, and then they're just going to follow it up with ET Spirit on top, Sunray going through, and Underlord's just going to be there giving aura. It's very straightforward. And the laning is also pretty strong.
He's got him.
Yeah,
Fishman, he'll be the one to get first blood.
A beatdown right there. I mean, that's that facet going to work. And I mean, this is a lane that, as the panel was talking about, you should not lose this lane versus anything. I refuse to believe Wind Ranger Elder Titan loses versus anything in the meta. You need a very strong cheese lane to beat this lane effectively. Because you just can't trade versus them. There's no way. Entity already off to a strong start, and that's the other scary part about their lineup. Their 5-man looks insanely scary to play against. That is some damage, though.
Yeah, that guy's not going to be having a fun time. Kataomi is playing Phoenix against Marcy and Snapfire. These are going to be some difficult eggs to place because too far away and they're not effective, but very easy to get them too close and have that egg get blown up. So, and if he's going to struggle in the laning phase, it's just going to get even worse. That's just one kill. We'll see how much more LGD can get out of it. I mean, we saw in game one, the side lanes, like they were putting pressure and trying to get kills and stuff, but it didn't actually result in a lane win. They ended up behind in CS and such. We'll see if the similar outcome comes to this game two.
I mean, this Snapfire Marcy's a nice little combination, honestly. With the bodyguard and the shots coming through, the Snap's now dealing the extra bonus damage with some of the sidekick buff up as well. It's an insane amount of burst. Kind of a cheese lane almost.
Yeah, a little bit extra chain stun when the Marcy goes in off the, you could, chain stun it with the Cookie as well. I mean, Marcy is just such a burst-oriented hero. You really want to be able to make sure that, in this case, the Storm Spirit, the Wind Ranger, they don't get off their defensive mobility spell that'll allow them to just kite the Marcy out in this game.
Marcy, I mean, this is an interesting hero. If you can create a cheese lane for the carry Marcy, then you alleviate one of the big problems about the hero, which is she can't jungle early, so you need to make sure she can stand on the lane, continue to free farm for as long as possible, like a PA or Spectre or something. And if you can just cheese it up, then you can get through that phase. So far, LGD doing quite well in these lanes. They're going to go on DM again.
Yeah, look at that damage, man. So much burst, so much physical damage that the Atrophy Aura just barely keeps DM alive.
Man, it's that is not a fun combo to play into right here for anybody.
Maybe we found a replacement to the IO, because as he said, all of these pubs that I've been seeing carry Marcy in, it's like always with an IO.
He's just dead. What is this combination, actually?
Combination does too much.
Yeah, I did not really understand in the draft how well Bodyguard works in conjunction with all these hits going through. You're just basically getting double Shredder instantly. And this level 3 is an insane power spike. You're giving the minus armor, which is buffing all this up even more.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Pango Tusk combination, the swashbuckle tag team.
Yeah, very
It's like
similar.
one of those where it's like you've got a hero that does a rapid amount of attacks and then something that combines with it to really amp up those attacks. So
very cheap, too. All these spells are very cheap, easy to throw out. No one getting beat up mid. Very low. He's just dead here?
Yeah. With the rotation coming out from PYW, he will die. And you said so much of Entity, a lot of their games at this play-in stage has been around and through no one, and his successful wins on mid very oftentimes during the laning phase, and then the momentum he gives them off of that kind of lead. But not going to be the case in this game. LGD, they've cooked up something that Entity may fall into a hole once again, as DM is going to die again in this lane. Every single time Shiro gets a bit low, sure, but he survives. They are getting a ton of experience out of this lane now.
Just can't survive the physical burst. Even with 8 armor, it's not close. Insane lane combination for LGD, and they are getting a lot done with this Marcy, which again is pushing Jiro through the harder part of the game for him. If he can get to some fighting items, we'll see if he goes the Battle Fury build, but he's already cruising. He's going to have Orbital Corrosion plus Phase Boots pretty fast here. It's going to be even more deadly on the lane. You already have 6 first mid, so no one has to jungle a little bit to avoid that extra line gank that PYW is looking for. He's going to find a DD rune and get it denied, so no one also not getting that 6-minute power rune that he would have wanted here. LGD, very strong early game for them. They have Timbersaw free farming during all of this action. Find another kill.
Yeah, Why You Smile should be able to run him down, no problem, as he has a pretty big movement speed advantage here. Kataomi tries to hide away in the trees, shot down. And no one gets a little aggressive on mid, but you can see the line is just hanging out. He's ready. PYW's ready to respond if no one gets overly aggressive.
D-ward by Why You Smile as well. Level 5 already. This is before Wisdom Runes. Snapfire is the same level as his offlaner here. Ridiculous start for him.
Getting this kill on Fishman will just boost them up even further.
LGD. Firing on all cylinders here, though. They will lose their Wisdom Rune.
Yeah, Watson being a bit sneaky. Takes the Wisdom Rune and does get out with it, so that will help offset that pretty clear level advantage that LGD was building up.
Straight back into bottom. DM, he's level 4. He's a level behind this 5 position. That's how much work this combination has done down here.
They got double Wisdom Runes. Did either one of them go to
I don't think so. I think
DMs?
One went to the Phoenix, one went to the ET, I believe.
Man, that's just... You're struggling, but apparently you're not struggling enough to get the helping hand out.
Should have been lower level, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. New, he had one more tree to be able to get on top of Watson. Might be able to get the return kill very easy with Echo showing up. So, worthy exchange, core for support.
I mean, where do you go right now on the map if you're Endy? You have to use this Storm to make the moves, but right now it's you're just trying to skirmish into these super high level heroes and you're struggling to do it. They're going to find...
I mean, you absolutely go to the Marcy
double
lane.
kill. Okay, yeah. That I did not expect that to work as well as it did.
Yeah.
I actually just got both here. That was a killing spree on Why You Smile as well. So almost 1,000 gold total there and a lot of experience going back into DM who needed it.
I mean, Marcy's a hero that really accelerates in certain 1v1 or 2v2 scenarios, but you outnumber her and she just kind of falls apart. So I would expect more entity rotations to this lane. Wouldn't be surprised if like Watson decided to go through the gate or something like that.
I mean, imagine if LG had gotten one of those Wisdom Runes, they would have had 6 on this snap as well. Might have been able to just snowball completely out of control. Big entity made these little turnaround plays, and of course they still have Watson mostly free farming top here. Gonna try and send another gank into him off the smoke. Shut down this Wind Ranger who's mostly free farming up here. Don't think Watson sees this one coming.
No, wrap around from behind from PYW combined with the smoke. This is just so many heroes that surely they'll be able to get the kill, and they do, thanks to your spike. Still though, New, he's probably gonna die as Stormbeard hits him. Can they get the chain stun off of this one? Doesn't look like it. No one is actually gonna go in deeper. Goes for the kill on PYW, and thanks to the Supernova, he feels safe enough even if he's out of mana. Try and chase after him. Shiro's not gonna quite get there in time. The Underlord gonna pop the ultimate, so they're gonna turn this one around, go for the support. Why You Smile trying to get a cookie away, caught inside the ensnare of DM. Echo, actually, Shiro still wants to take this fight with his ultimate. He's not really healthy enough. They do manage to get the kill on Fishman thanks to Echo landing that shield crash. No one, beautiful shackle. That cleans up Shiro and keeps no one alive. Mew has to go for the kill on Nakatomi instead, which he will. Chakram will slice him out of that fight. But a power shot from a distance keeps these heroes honest, keeps them from chasing after no one too much further. In fact, a mango being given away. These heroes are a little bit low on LGD. Entity, we're thinking about seeing if there was some potential for yet another pickoff, yet another galvanized stack for no one.
Maybe LGD lucky that Arcane Rune did not spawn top as well. That would have refreshed no one's resources here. It kept him out of the map, but big fight for him. He played that very well. The aggressive jump made it so the Pangolier could not chain stun him, made it so the Snapfire ult could not land on him due to the minimum range. And then just kites back into the egg. Very well played by him throughout that entire fight. Pushes him to the top of the board here, which is exactly what Entity needed. Overall, fairly good exchange for them, considering how weird that fight was at the start. Again, they have kind of slow supports that need a lot of levels here. Want the big 5-on-5s between the Phoenix ET, so you have to try and not get dragged into awkward openings to these fights if you're Entity. Make sure they're on your terms around your towers, around your Underlord, plus your 2 supports who are all clunky, but can be really strong on the 5-on-5. That's where who Storm jumps and where he jumps them is really important to determine the outcomes of these exchanges. No one's resources, perhaps the biggest deal for Entity in this game. Got to keep this Storm as high mana as possible at all times. Look for the opportunities, be ready to defend your towers, because LGD are going to try and pick up the momentum. They have Pango Timber, 2 fighting cores, can deal a lot of damage in this early game, enable the supports who have a lot of damage to back them up.
You also have some awkward supports on Entity that are pretty easy to run over, right?
Yeah, if you start killing Entity's heroes one by one here, or finding, you know, impales on the ET, a hex on the Phoenix or something, you're going to burst them through. It's not going to be close. So, again, your positioning on Entity, need to make sure it's on point.
Shiro
or make the aggressive plays
was
yourself.
farming alone in bottom lane. No one shows up. Can't really afford those kind of pickoffs. LGD have already lost the net worth advantage that they built up so painstakingly in the laning phase. Echo does not get hit. Oh, the cookie! It stopped the Rolling Thunder. It might have just gotten him killed. Not quite. A Hex comes out, and now it's the Stormsphere in trouble, blown up by the finger. They do manage to get a good egg positioning, though, and Wyu Smile's dead, so nobody can kill that egg. Running over the mid lane. Not a great trade-off for Entity. If they'd gotten the Pango, would have been great, but 1 for 1, losing their Storm Spirit and losing some of those galvanized stacks, that always hurts.
That is just an incredibly fast Hex by PYW. Super ready for that Storm jump and punishes no one who was, as you said, getting out of control. It was up to 10 or 11 galvanized stacks there. Gonna set him back a bit, and your Orchid, not a conventional Pango item, but one that will definitely make the Storm and the Wind Ranger's lives harder in these early fights, especially when you combine it off a chain with the Impale or the Hex that are pretty reliable so far. Interesting itemization from Echo. He needs at least 1 or 2 big kills with this Orchid to make it feel good. We'll find a little support here.
You say 1 or 2 kills, does an Elder Titan count? Does a Fishman Elder Titan count?
Give him a half point.
Okay, half a kill. So he needs 1.5 more kills.
I mean, this is also helping your Marcy get to Battle Fury. It's pretty valuable here. Shiro is falling a little bit behind as these fights weren't working out the greatest for him. And yeah, this cookie was very awkward.
Yeah, it resets the Rolling Thunder animation, almost gets Echo killed.
I mean, I think he is dead if no one gets that other jump. Just didn't see the lion in the trees. And that's all it takes. The strength of the pick here. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can do with that. He is making the correct play there. He gets that Pango 100%. He gets out, but PYW, a little too fast. And that's a lot of what this game's going to come down to for LGD. Like, can you make these little fast plays in the fights on the map that make these unconventional picks work, and then they look really good? Well, let's say you miss that Hex. That whole exchange is just awful for you. It really comes down to some small spell casting here and getting your Marcy into that late game situation where
is under attack.
she can just power through some of these cores.
Would you say LGD have the need for speed then?
Mechanically, sure. They have the need for some wins in this group stage, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's certainly true. 2-5, not looking great, but looking perhaps a little bit better in this game too. If they can get this kill on DM, there's 1.5 for Echo. So Orchid, I'm not sure if the Orchid was actually needed for either one of these kills he's gotten so far, but it doesn't hurt. Fishman going for a D ward, gets caught in the process. Manages to live. Whoa, wait a minute. Now they've got the stomp on them as well. Rolling Thunder doesn't matter. The damage from Watson with the focus fire, and PYW will get cleaned up as well. No one just got a kill in bottom lane, got that pick off on Snapfire, just showed up for 2 kills at top. Now he's gonna TP to mid and maybe catch Shiro. Wait, no, Shiro's just gonna kill the egg. He'll go for Why You Smile, an easier kill perhaps, and has to commit his last bit of mana to be able to get that kill. Does get it, but he dies in the process. Shiro underneath the Chakram. Mew, can you help him out? He can. Gives him the positioning to hop up the cliff, but he will tick out. The fire, too much damage. Damage over time ends up finishing him off. Now Nusha's got to worry about his own life here. Another firestorm will not be enough. Neil will get out, but losing Shiro, as you said, he is a little bit behind on his Battle Fury timing, and yet another death like this, it has just sent him so far down the network chart at this point.
Man, I would love to see Shiro's trajectory in this game, because that laning phase, he was up to 3,300 net worth or so early on in that laning phase. Now we're looking at the 16-minute mark, and he's only gained 3K. I mean, he's had a couple, like 200 or 300 GPM minutes here.
Yeah.
Just, this is the downside of the Marcy. You really struggle to get to this first item if that laning phase is not crisp. They got halfway there, and it just fell apart in these fights for him. And now he's decently far behind. You do get the Storm kill, you reset some of the stacks, but that Storm, he's going to be close to BKB, still having a very strong game here for no one. And we're seeing a lot of these fights. It comes down to how much the Timbersaw can get done on the side of LGD versus the Storm and Wind Ranger coming through with the big damage. And a lot of these fights have just been the egg going down instantly, either, you know, to the Snap or the Marcy. If that doesn't happen, that team fight looks a lot worse for LGD. So they've done a decent job prioritizing that. And, you know, Why You Smile still having a very strong game here, is able to play a more aggressive, help contribute to that as well.
This is where the IO feels so necessary for the Marcy, because pre-Battle Fury, the IO helps speed along your neutral farming a lot more and allows you to still be a part of team fights. But without that global mobility, right, then, you know, Marcy's showing up to fights, you know, off of like tower TP rotations and stuff. He's losing out on farm just by walking across the map to be a part of fights. And then if the fight goes bad, well, then you're just in a one hell of a hole where he is yet to get Battle Fury in 18 minutes. PYW caught. Spotted by Watson, followed up by DM. They have plenty of disables to keep him in place.
And Enemy are happy to just continue finding these pickoffs across the map. Yeah. The Storm and the Wind Ranger can set stuff up now. They're pretty independent. You just need one support with them, and you're clearing through supports. We saw Shiro showed mid for a single wave, instant 2 TPs from Enemy. Threatening him, threatening that 18-minute power rune. They're playing really aggressive around this mid lane. They have the vision control. That's the biggest thing here. This dire ward on mid is doing a lot of work for them. Is a Radiant one from LGD to scout some of the movement around it, but the damage is kind of being done regardless. Area's being controlled, the jungle's being invaded, this tower backstab is being threatened right now. Not an easy fight for LGD if it doesn't start on their terms. If the Storm jump and the Shackle come through, then you're going to be able to egg and stomp from a defensive position, and that's very hard to interrupt. You don't have backline jump here on LGD with your 2 supports. The 2 supports have to stun heroes that go into them. So if Entity are jumping, LG are getting those stuns, but the fight is still good for their supports, then the Stomp Egg can maybe bail you out. We'll get you to the Battle Fury here. It's 19 minutes. Pretty slow here for Shiro. I don't think he's happy about this timing. But again, he invested in Orb Corrosion plus phase boots for that laning phase. And right when he made that investment, he pretty much got nothing off of it for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's going to push towards BKB. He'll be pretty strong in the fight with the BKB, but that focus fire is going to be his biggest threat this game. Not a lot you can do about Wind Ranger running in, ulting you, and running you down with her own BKB timing, which might come out at a comparable point here. And did this Orchid pay off for Echo on the Pangoliera? Does not feel like it did.
Not a single kill on the Storm Spirit.
Nope.
Because of it, so I'm going to say no. If they'd gotten even just one kill on the Storm, I think it just does so much to slow down his Galvanized stacks and stuff, and I would say 100% worth it, but not the case yet, anyway. And having BKB means very likely that Orchid never will result in another kill on a Storm Spirit, but they can get some other kills, like Fishman in the mid lane.
That blink for PYW will definitely help get this Orchid a bit more usability. This is a tanky hero to go on.
Yeah, not the fastest kill for sure, but if the TP rotations can't come in quick enough, only YU Smile was able to come in because they made that move on mid, right? They showed PYW, they used Rolling Thunder mid, and so Entity's saying, okay, well, those are two incredibly important heroes for LGD, just means nobody's here to back up this Timbersaw.
Global ability from the Underlord is what pushes that gank over the edge, and Entity bringing numbers to all these fights, playing the map really well. They TP no on top. He's going to be able to go back through the gate here. You're going to be able to threaten Roshan if you want to. Just very fast map movement, collapsing everybody on these ganks into the objectives. Going to be able to put an Aegis probably on your Storm here. Despite what Watson might want for himself, I think his BKB is flying out. It is done. He got Grove Bow as well. Everything lining up here for Entity. They have double BKB cores that can start the fights for an Underlord giving you the auras, two supports giving you a lot of team fight, and there's nothing to really dissuade the single target focus from these two BKB heroes. Again, similar issue to what LG had last game, where what happens when Windranger and Storm BKB jump you and start setting stuff up on their terms? You don't have a response. In fact, you have zero control outside of, I guess, Marcy Basher way later on. Which isn't even that easy to connect here on these cores. So you have to start fights on your terms if you're LGD. You need to start finding more pickoffs with this Blink Lion on the map. More fights where you catch that Hex or Cookie Stun or something before a BKB gets committed. Maybe on that first jump. It is something you can look for. Find a Tormentor. It's something that can't BKB against you, so it's a little bit of value. But you are getting constricted on the map quite fast here. And how much space are you willing to give up during this Aegis period? Are you willing to bleed out another 4 or 5k net worth just to get through that part of the game and look towards the BKB on the Marcy? I don't know if that exchange is good enough to warrant it.
Yeah. This is a bit of a problem. Maybe it's not a problem that LGD are going to have to worry about, but just for other teams, the fact that Entity feels like you can't give them Darkseer, and this Windranger has actually proven to be a pretty interesting choice for them as well, because the fact they can run it both in 1 or 2 position. Drafting may be a bit of a conundrum for these teams facing up against Entity the rest of the tournament. New dying like that, though. Continued mobility of Storm Spirit and Underlord.
They're just meeting their mark everywhere he goes. Gonna look for the pick off. They do have some decent burst, and yeah, that's enough. So there's your Aegis gone.
Ooh, they missed out on being able to get that stun on the Phoenix. Maybe they could have gotten that kill real quickly, but got off the Supernova. Now in the second life, the Storm Spirit, he'll run down probably both supports.
No one's just dominating, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's had a couple deaths this game, but they've mostly been deaths to enable the team in the fight. And I don't think he's minded at all, because all 3 of Entity's cores are sitting very pretty here. Their team fight's coming alive. And LGD, they don't have a lot of 5v5 of their own. There's no big Black Hole or Ravage type spells within this lineup. You have Rolling Thunder, that's it. But you're against a 2 mobile core lineup and a Phoenix who doesn't care about it. So can't rely on it too much here to give you the AoE control. Your comeback mechanisms are pretty limited. It's, again, pick off on the map. Gotta get the lanes in as much as possible. And so far, every time we've seen you try and get lanes in with this Timbersaw, he just gets TP'd on and ganked. And there's a portal gank from the Underlord to give you the extra numbers and damage required for that kill. If the Timbersaw cannot get the lanes in, LGD are really in trouble this game. Because the Lion's just never going to see anybody to jump. So it's going to be a 3-man smoke here, 4-man smoke from LGD. They're just going to try and force the issue.
Yeah, they're saying if the Timbersaw needs to be able to push out lanes, we should try and punish one of these times they go for him, right? Well, I thought they were just going to 4-man smoke, sit behind him, and wait for Entity to make that jump. Instead, they're being a little bit more proactive.
Very aggressive.
Moving all the way behind this tier 1 tower. They're going to break on the low ground. PYW jumps in, but he doesn't get the Hex in time. Watson pops the BKB, and the fight's already over.
Yep, that's it.
That was an incredibly blind and risky maneuver from LGD. But I guess maybe they just felt like they were behind. They had to take certain drastic measures.
It's just such a hard lineup to do that into because, again, the counter initiation is very straightforward for Entity, and you are super reliant on that Hex landing before a BKB.
Yeah.
Which Fishman, he's in the right place at the right time, pops the smoke, gives enough time for Wind Ranger to get the BKB off, and then, yeah, that fight's just over instantly. There's no turnaround potential. There's no Pierce for LGD in that type of scenario. They'll find a lone Underlord, but the damage is not too fast here.
It's really not that threatening. Now that Watson's here, Echo just has to use the rest of his Rolling Thunder to TP out. And Yu's going to have to take a longer ride back to his side of the map. May still be caught, not realizing they had vision on him. Saw him moving up like that one. And they just keep him in place of the Supernova. They have plenty of damage.
More stacks for the Storm here, up to 18. Lincoln's already done for no one, by the way.
And he's going to go for the kill on Echo. Shiro, he's going to make his first entrance in a while. Kind of messing up the Earth Spike, but it doesn't really matter. They get that kill. That is the first show of the BKB from Marcy. Gets an Underlord kill to trade out for the Timber Saw. Not the biggest impact, but it's something, I guess.
I mean, decent damage coming out at least.
Sure.
Feel good about that. You can bring that frontliner down, because if you can't, then you're really in trouble this game. Taking advantage of the fact the Storm was a little low resources. But man, is no one big this game. Like, the fact you already have BKB and Lincoln's up on this Storm is incredibly scary, because a lot of your control versus them is that instant Hex. Not a lot else to reliably pop it either. Like, what are you popping this Lincoln's with on the side of LGD? I mean, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
You have to just throw the Hex Impale in there and hope you can land them, but not an easy task. No one continuing to hunt with the same gate play on whoever tries to push this bottom lane out.
And they just get a great clump up that they immediately take advantage of. Both supports will die.
Every time someone has tried to get this lane in for LGD, it has gone horribly wrong.
And Entity is just getting stronger and stronger so they can make moves like this. They make that move at bottom lane while the other two-man team of Fishman and Watson get a pick off still on you. Not even the mid lane is safe. I mean, he can't even push out the mid lane into the river.
Entity have really abused LGD on these lanes this game. They have set up the gank very fast and refused to let LGD get this safe lane out. And there's just no space to operate in. It's shutting down everything of what they want to do right now. And yeah, it goes back to, do you have to smoke behind the guy who pushes in bottom to bait that play? And is that even something you're happy doing? I'm not sure, but you might not have another choice in this game. You don't have many other options here. I mean, your other option is you just five-man smoke in somewhere and place the high ground ward. And those are very mixed plays. Trying to threaten a BKB pop, but Shiro will not bite. He is working towards that basher to give him something for those BKBs. Not going to do anything against the Wind Ranger, but maybe you can catch the Storm. Some Hopium. Yeah, once more levels.
Oh, they know he's here. They know he's here. They get the grab just before the TP completes.
He's out of mana.
He is, but Echo is out of TPs. So he can roll as far as he wants, but he's going to have to get out of vision and hide away somewhere. I guess he's going to be okay, but they are cutting across the map on the side of Entity. May not be chasing down the Pango, but they'll get something better. A beautiful shackle shot, a good response though. PYW gets the Hex, stopping all the damage out from this Wind Ranger, and the Wind Run's going to run out soon. Still, he gets off the BKB and starts making his distance away from some of these damage dealers. Some desperate shots out from the kisses. None of them are going to land on the Wind Ranger. Can't finish up that kill, and you left alone on the high ground. No one pushing for more. He's got the mana to chase. He's got the mana to be able to go for the kill on both the Snapfire, and he'll collect Shiro's head as well. Go for the Lion underneath the tier 3. Entity are just so strong, and the base means nothing to them. Will not slow them down a heartbeat. They'll just keep going.
27 galvanized stacks for the Storm right now.
Jeez.
Absolutely out of control. LGD, they found the Chainstone on the Wind Ranger. That's the dream scenario for them, but not enough damage to finish him off. Unable to sync it up, and another disaster of a team fight for this squad that is on the brink of maybe facing elimination in this play-in.
Echo, did he not know they were going to come back through that gate?
I mean, what is he supposed to do? It's his tier 4s.
Tower is under attack.
Can't blame the man. If you're not safe here, you're not safe anywhere. You might not be safe for the rest of this game, which might not be very long at this point. Entity just took this map over, and LGD just not challenging what this Storm Spirit can do enough, it felt like. Didn't sync up the core and the supports in the right places at the right time to shut down these heroes, and could not get the lanes in. And when that type of game happens and it's clunky and slow, carry heroes like Marcy do not thrive.
No.
At all. So they are in a very tough spot. You probably got one good fight left in you here. You're gonna have to find a very good jump with this line. It is all on PYW.
They find the ward that's inside their base from Fishman and that gate play earlier. But Entity will not give LGD the opportunity to make this smoke work, at least not immediately.
Oh, nice little arcane rune for no one.
Oh,
in case
maybe
he needed more mana.
Mate, no one on the low ground here. No, he zips forward. And with the BKB activated, there goes LGD's hopes of a pickoff. At best, Echo can maybe make it out with this Rolling Thunder. But without Rolling Thunder, they certainly can't take the team fight. Now they've been caught inside the pit. They couldn't afford that one. That's just a free setup for the egg on the outside, just to make sure LGD are not going to try and bail out those two heroes.
Are under attack.
And another gate, another reset. If you didn't have enough mana regen between the bazillion galvanized stacks and the arcane rune, well, now you also can just get a free trip back to base.
So many resources to work with here.
I mean, this Underlord looks so good for Entity because the relentless aggression is just made even more relentless by the fact that they have these non-stop global ganks or these, you know, these trips back to base that top them off on resources and keep the pressure on.
I mean, he's 10-4-15 on this Underlord. Like, he has been involved in almost every kill here. Yeah, for DM. Made it look really strong in this type of game. Just backing up whatever no one wants to do. Knows he has the auras coming through that gate on every single jump. We saw the BKB get popped on Shiro on that earlier jump, so LGD hesitant to engage right here. Without that item up on the Marcy, Parasma done for the Storm. The damage is going to start to skyrocket. Are you going to take this fight without the BKB on the Marcy? It seems pretty hard. They're going to try.
Yeah, they tried to go for it with the Rolling Thunder. Missed out on the Watson jump while no one goes straight for the supports. It's just easy kills for him there. Now, Watson got in a little bit too deep, though. He gets himself a bit punished there without Watson. Can LGD hold this one? Shiro's just going to run out of gas. No one's just too strong. It's just like game one. You reached a point where Entity got too big, and even when Watson dies, there's a second carry and even a potential third as DM continues to have an influence. He stole it away from him.
Why? You can see no one.
No, come on, man.
Absolutely furious right now. How dare you take my rampage?
He's like, what do you want me to do, man? It was Firestorm. I can't control that.
An insult to an otherwise perfect game here from no one. Well, not perfect, but